from the studios of the Bakersfield, California. It's time to open up with real people, real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Welcome to this very special edition of Open Up. I'm Bob Prater. This is my friend Don Clark.
And we're your second favorite pair on the air.
We are.
Tina has the day off. We're hoping she might show up with some good fruit juices from Nature's Juice Bar. But anyway, glad you're joining us. This program is all about winning. If you want to know how to win, if you want to help others win, train others to win, if you're a parent, a coach, a teacher, in any kind of field, if you're a business executive or aspiring to be a business executive and want to know how to win, how to do it, that's what this show is all about. And I think we've really got some extraordinary guests here.
Yes, we do.
You want to introduce our first one? You want me to do it?
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Well, we have with us. Here in Bakersfield, just about 20 miles up the road, north of the road, is a little tiny town called McFarland, USA. And I mean, you got to blink as you drive up 99 or you're already past it. You've got a McDonald's and maybe something else. That was a big deal when McDonald's came
I remember.
to McFarland.
Sure.
So anyway, but if you haven't seen the movie, you need to see it. McFarland, USA, one of the most inspiring movies of the season. And with us, we have none other than the coach, Jim White, and his wife, Cheryl, who've just been going through this incredible odyssey ever since this movie came out. Jim, Cheryl, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's no small thing that they're with us because their schedule is jam-packed. I mean, Jim and I started back, I think, in March trying to find a date that we could come, and we just go every weekend. No, I'm taking that. No, I'm in Orlando. No, I'm in Montreal. No, I'm in Europe. No, I'm here. And finally, we found one date, and here it is. And so we're so glad you're with us. Let's talk about the odyssey, Jim, that this movie has propelled you and your wife on. Here you are later in life and enjoying retirement, and all of a sudden just this explosion of activity and notoriety. Tell us about that.
It has taken us in a lot of places that we never planned on going. You don't do anything to create a movie about you. You just accept it, and we accepted it. And after the movie was shown, we've been bombarded with places to go and places to speak and to give our testimony a little bit. And so we've been happy to do that. And it's really taken us on a real wild trip.
Let's talk about the movie. I mean, I think a lot of people would just like to meet Kevin Costner. He plays you on the film, and I'm sure there was a lot of interaction. Tell us about the man himself.
Well, he did a wonderful job, we think, in portraying me. And we didn't have a lot to do with Kevin prior to the movie or after the movie, but during the movie he is very personable, very God-fearing man himself. And from what we can depict anyway, and he interacted with us. He interacted with the town people very much. So we were very happy that came across like that.
While you're talking, we're watching one of the trailers for the movie. Here, guys, McFarland, one of the poorest towns in California. Most everyone there is in the field of farm work, and these guys getting up at 5 in the morning and working 4.5 hours before they ever even go to school. And here he is, training, taking advantage of every little thing they can to train him. Chuck, tell us how you got started with the idea of a track team in McFarland. That must have seemed like a stretch.
Well, it wasn't quite like the movie shows. It didn't happen in 1987. I actually started the program in 1980. When we unified, we pulled out of the Kern County School District. We unified it within our own school and community there. I was able to get a position coaching at the high school. I never did teach at the high school. I never did get fired twice. And so that's a little bit Hollywood, but they've developed a good story. So in 1980, I was allowed to have a chance to develop a program. I asked the athletic director. I said, I don't want a fly-by-night program. What do I have to do to keep this program going? He said, well, we didn't have a program last year. And I said, I realize that. What do I need to do to develop it and keep it going? He said, well, can you get 10 people out? I said, if that's what you want, I'll have 10 people out. I think I finished the first year with 2 boys teams and a girls team, and I think we were 16 to 19 kids the first year.
We never heard about the girls team. How did they do?
We won league quite often. I developed both programs up to the point to where in 1986 I was allowed by the school board to get us another coach for the girls. So from 86 on, Gary Adams started the program there. Not started it, but took it over from me, and so it developed like that.
So, Coach, I know that one of your great inspirations was Joe Newton from the state of Illinois, who won like a gazillion titles
Over and over.
over and over. And so I know that you gained some coaching acumen from him, but I'm really more interested in the way that you stepped in and transformed not just the lives, both of you, the way you transformed the lives in a community, not just in sports, but with men's lives and women's lives, and then an entire community. There's a woman, Dr. Brene Brown. She's from Texas, and she speaks a lot at TED Talks and whatnot. She talks about vulnerability, and one of the things she says that when we step into the arena to do something, the 2 things that we hear, the first thing we hear is not good enough, and if we can get past that, it's who do you think you are? So how did you handle that? Because you had to understand what was happening when you saw this community being transformed. How did you deal with those voices? And then what would you say to other people who feel like, hey, maybe I can change the world too?
Well, there's a lot of thought there and a lot of questions thrown at me at one time.
That's true.
Let's start like this. That should be the position of everybody, to develop something within their lives. You should have the ability to make a difference. That's what you should want to do, okay, to start with. Every teacher should want to have that desire to make a difference. I told my mom years ago I want to go small. That means I wanted to live in a small community. I didn't want to be a number. I didn't want to be just somebody that made no difference. And so I chose my first job, happened to come up in McFarland, and I chose to stay there. I taught there for 40 years. During the years, though, now to answer some of the other questions there, we've had many struggles, but I preach attitude all the time, and my attitude had to be good. I had to develop my own attitude down through high school and college, because I had some situations that weren't the best, and they weren't going to get me down. And so during the years when I'm developing this program, and I taught there 40 years, I've had a lot of feedback from principals, some superintendents, and other teachers. Why are you doing this? I said, well, I'm doing it because nobody else is doing it. I'm doing it because it needs to be done. Why do you take them here? I said, because they've never been there. That ocean trip was very true. The ocean trip, in one situation there where we came over the mountains, and a boy that had on my team said, Mr. White, what's the name of that lake? I said, oh my goodness. He didn't know the difference between a lake and an ocean because he'd never visually seen it. So then we took them to restaurants where they had too many forks. And we took them to bowling. We took them to movies. We don't have a movie house. They hadn't seen movies, some of them, way back. So you try to make a difference, and you try to do these things because that's the right thing to do. Yep.
Taking them to movies, and now that they are the movie.
Now they are. Now they can take them to their own movie.
Cheryl, when we come back, we want to hear from you how you feel you were portrayed and the difference you were able to make with your husband and in your own right. So we'll be right back.